20 did, that's the timing that when they go in. The nullification on Tastar is doing some work, but there are just so many targets that he has to focus. He can't just lessen the damage coming out from one target. There is Greymane, the double Illidan. You can't really stop all of them at the same time.
No. 20 is now right about to be locked in too, which means a larger sanctification, and that is the big upgrade here for Tyrael. Also, cleanse coming out essentially for Lucio, likely to be the choice, as we do see the commitment in now is going to be that essentially a cleanse coming out for Lucio as SDE dives first. They're going in deep onto the Vala.
Just the clone did so much damage. Gondar is taking a lot of damage. Adaptation already used Mora. There's a sanctification, and there's an extra dive. Device shoot onto Johanna, which is going to be Dutu a lot weaker. There's the first kill onto Johanna, Uther, and Dutu without the protection. Nochet is also in the dangerous position on the other side.
So much healing coming out from Wiz as before his ghost goes down there. Didn't have 20, didn't have redemption, and that is going to be game over. L5 is going to take the win here. I feel like Wiz played a good Uther. The composition was strong from BlossoM, but there won team fights early for L5 where it won them the game. They won the early keep war, taking the mid and top keeps, and that just led them to have an advantage throughout the entire game. And they're just the better team so far right now. And we saw creative drafts out of BlossoM all throughout their series against MVP Black. They won the game with the Cho'Gall. And in this draft, it felt like they went almost too normal, too standard. The Johanna pick, a rare one, but it felt like it was very well equipped to deal with the Illidan composition. But they just couldn't make it happen when it mattered most. Taking that boss and getting the kills when L5 were greedy was really all they were able to do.
Yep, it was very hard, of course. And we saw it's the dive meta. Dive meta, the sustain meta, either of those ones. A lot of the stronger teams in all regions are using it right now in this meta. But we saw some counters to it sometimes, bringing the right wing with the Emerald Wind. Of course, it does not give burst heal, but bringing the double support with Tastar or even with Uther sometimes did counter all the dives. So maybe choosing Brightwing, which was open during the entire draft, and from the beginning we saw it was going to be the dive comp because the L5 picked Avatar and Illidan.
Yeah, so
there are still lots of options, so.
Yeah, I mean, Brightwing could have been the way, but when you have already Uther, Tassadar, you can't really predict like necessarily that the draft is going to go that way. It's something we've seen though, as you said yesterday. So we'll see how the rest of the series goes, because we're at a point now where we're seeing Avatar on Sky Temple, and you kind of have to think that's a bigger sign of the meta moving towards that Illidan, the Greymane, the Avatar Zeratul you've seen already. Avatar is becoming so popular right now that, you know, and in the past, you'd be like, okay, Cursed Hollow maybe. Battlefield of Eternity we saw a lot in the past. Then you're looking at Sky Temple back in the day, you would think, oh, well, never Abathur there. But even now we're seeing Abathur dominate here, so it's very much something to consider that the Illidan ban might start to take over the Genji ban as we move forward, because it's just a pick that we're seeing more and more of right now.
Yeah, oftentimes when there were clones on the other side, some Korean teams actually backed off, not even tried to fight, because just buying the time of clone when the clone is expired, and then they would go in for the team fight. But it was very hard because they had Lucio. The speed boost made that impossible. Of course, they had a lot of die with the extra speed boost. They could not really get away from any team fight. So I think L5 had a very strong draft. But with the second battleground, now we're going into Towers of Doom. Okay, BlossoM, they have a lot of potential with the global. The macro fight, of course, goes for the L5 with the more experience, but I think this map, they have a good chance of coming back.
So I actually don't know if I like this map pick by L5. I remember what we saw already from BlossoM on this map. This is a map where you can see innovation. The Samuro pick was really solid. I want to see him again. I want to see it again, because I want to see if L5 can deal with it, because it was so powerful. And remember, that's with Mora accidentally picking Bladestorm. Mistakenly misclicking Bladestorm. It would have been even harder to deal with his split pushing with the extra escape there instead of the Bladestorm.
Yeah, also another problem now is L5 can still use Illidan once more, so from the very beginning they ban Avatar and L5. Are they going to ban Genji? They leave it open. Ban Ariel instead.
So Ariel removed now, and we will see Genji the first pick by BlossoM. So makes the Samuro pick less likely, sadly. Rip.
Rip, and there's Uther with the Stitches. Of course, Ariel already banned, but Stitches has been the big favorite with the stronger teams from Korea right now, with those hooks over the walls, especially when and also if you have Tastar, some follow-up CCs. That's also a reason why we've been seeing lots of Kel'Thas coming back with the CC chain.
Well, 17-8 is Genji in this tournament. It is pretty solid. That's over 67% to do my...
It was 67 yesterday,
yeah.
But with that win at the end, that's a sign.
Yeah, it's like 67.8% now.
Sign that the hero is pretty strong right now in this meta. There was a slight, small nerf onto his talent, onto his quest, I mean, at 4.
I know everyone always freaks out about the Stitches, by the way. I meant to mention this today because I get a lot of tweets about it. The Stitches in Korea has got his belly fixed. He's fine. Everything is all right.
It's PG-12 here, so.
He's okay, guys. He's all right.
He's all right.
I know it might look strange to you, but he's pretty happy he got his belly fixed. But he's okay.
So he just wants to play, you know.
Yeah.
He still eats a lot of heroes because he wants to play. But they're leaving pick with the Tyrael to take away from Hooligan, and that hero play from Hooligan in game 1 was sick. He knew the exact timing of the shield coming back. That was insane.
So, ban Samuro? Nah.
Not even close.
Malthael could be an option.
They can still go for the support choke. Took Uther, Ariel ban.
Earthis.
Ooh. Is this a sign that Illidan is going to come out? I think BlossoM should read where this draft is going. I think that's an easy ban, as they still do not have any global. Okay.
They're highlighting it at least. Based on our drafts of BlossoM throughout Phase 2, we never necessarily know that when they highlight, they're going to ban it.
It's an easy ban, but you always think, is this the right ban? Because it seems too obvious.
Well, it's going to be Tastar instead, which limits Illidan's strength.
Removing lots of protection onto multiple heroes. Not just Illidan, they can also go for Vala, so I think that they went around and disband Tastar instead. It can also be very strong solo lane with the wave clear too.
So I think that Greymane is going to be the way to go now for DPS. Protect him with the Uther. Tyrael's already taken away, though. Looks like BlossoM is really concerned about the Illidan pick, and now maybe also considering the Tastar ban because of the potential for Vala to be done with a double support. SC, this is going to be about his hero right now in this draft. That's why he's shown on camera. See who he's bringing to the table now. Will it be that Vala he's so famous for with only the solo Uther support? Time to find out.
More likely we'll see
the Greymane, yep. But Nazebo joining in.
Before, they would bring in Falstad because they had Natrojin. But without Natrojin, they have not played a single game of Falstad from what I see on the sheet.
Sheets don't lie, man.
Yeah, sheets. The data does not lie. I don't think they have a super player with the Falstad yet on L5, so I think they went around, and maybe they're not even considering going global at all. The Haka is still open, and BlossoM may just end up taking it because the Haka is a soft counter to Genji also. With the drag, will just with the soft squishy body, when you're CC'd, you can get blown up instantly.
Well, waiting for that support pick. You'd have to assume it'll be the Rhaegar, given the map. Solo laner is the big question mark. Tyrael can be a solo laner. We've seen that a lot. Will we see something else? Will we see a melee come down with the Tyrael? Maybe we'd see Thrall. It's the big questions here for BlossoM. They don't have the answer. It's going to show us now as the time runs out. It'll be Brightwing for that solo top, and Leoric will come in here as an odd pick from BlossoM, but BlossoM loves to just throw wrenches into the gears of the meta, especially on this map. So not really dealing with some heavy tank busting with the Leoric, but you can grab Nazeebo with the Entomb. Doesn't have an escape. That's one way to eliminate him from the fight early on.
And Leoric, of course, very good solo lane with a decent wave clear and Bright Wing with the global. You can also protect Genji later on with lots of AoE healing, but that will give not much of a sustain actually. Genji would oftentimes dive in or onto the side, and if you're away from Bright Wing, of course you cannot get healed, so Genji would have to be careful on that. Maybe we'll see Emerald Wind coming out. It's not much of a dive comp for L5 yet. Let's see how they actually finish this draft. I think Dehaka is still a very good Marthiel. Another strong solo laner.
That's what they were looking for, was a solo laner. It's going to be Mouth up in the top lane. They have 2 tanks, so he's going to get a lot of value in terms of DPS. And when he pops his Tormented Souls, it's going to be really powerful in these team fights with, realistically, only the Brightwing healing. So it's very difficult to actually out-heal that DPS when Nazeebo's dropping down the DPS. Malthael, it's going to be a lot of burn damage on the side of L5. As we go into game number 2 here, is the map Towers of Doom. Let's jump into it. In blue, Wiz on Brightwing, Gondar on Tyrael, Mora on Leoric, Dudu on Genji, and No Chat on Li Ming.
And in red, L5. Hooligan on Stitches, SCSC on Nazeebo, Jongha on Marthael, SDE on Greymane, and Swoi on Uther.
3, 2, 1. 전투를 시작한다.
So, the battle has begun.
Ooh, actually, Nazeebo going top.
For now, we'll see if that ends up being
Okay.
a real thing. I don't think it will be.
It seems like they are already onto the push of the bot lane. A little bit with Malthael and Greymane with the burst damage.
Remember, SC has the highest Nazeebo win rate in Korea, so this is a hero that he played throughout all of Phase 1. As soon as it became meta, around the second part of the first phase.
Ooh, they want to punish them for going
That
overextending.
poly.
There's the poly. So you cannot escape. There's a first kill onto Greymane. Good focusing, good shot calling coming down at the perfect timing. Of course, without Lucio now, they do not have so much speed.
Interesting that Hooligan would want to shove this wave so far forward. Maybe this is a bait attempt by him. Gets the hook, but there's no follow-up, and it's on a Genji who has deflect available, so doesn't end up really mattering all too much there, and it will be the solo Nazeebo for now. Malthael is actually pushing the bot lane with Uther. So we saw the kind of swaps for having the Malthael with the support to really shove a lane. It is countered already by the Brightwing teleport.
The entire draft of BlossoM, a lot of them actually has an escape. Even Brightwing with the blink heal later on will have an escape. The only one without the escape is Leoric. He also has a walk, so he does have an escape. So hooks, I think, will be less effective against this comp somewhat. Also, there's not much of a follow-up, but with some follow-up with a zombie wall, burst damage, they can still get a pick, but less likely with this comp coming out from BlossoM.
Yeah, definitely. Hooligan just trying to block here. Does avoid those magic missiles. He took dampen magic, so they're not as painful, but still doesn't want to eat the damage regardless. Wiz will get caught here. There's the follow-up stun with Uther, not much else. So the E is dropped down here from Malthael, but just not enough DPS to grab a pick here on this fight.
Not yet.
So it's interesting that Brightwing's actually already with the team, not actually getting any soak. So neither team can have an advantage in terms of globals in this 4v4. Another pick on the Wiz. Hooligan is on fire tonight.
And Wiz still taking a lot of damage. There's Poly already used, but SDE dives in for the last bit of burst damage.
Oh, that's stun!
First kill, and seems like we'll see another kill with the cocktail
Cocktail
at the very
on
end.
the wall kill there, using the wall to get the splash. But that stun by Swoi was sick. That was, okay, I knew exactly where he's going to be. It was like he clicked the stun before Genji even jumped. All right.
That was good.
It was good.
It's target and it's easy, but the timing and the positioning has to be perfect, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. You got to give respect to moments like that.
Brightwing actually going for a poly build. Very interesting. And of course, before the blink heal comes along, if you get those kind of hooks several times in a row, you get kills with the CC. And Brightwing, because Brightwing was also forced to go back, could not really heal the entire teammates. That worked out perfectly for L5. That's the power-up stitches that we've been seeing so far, so much in Korea.
Hooligan is just hitting the hooks onto Wiz specifically. Once he has blink heal, it's not going to work as well, but for the early game, it's so good. Okay, Hooligan's just barely going to get out of this one. And the Cannon Tower out of ammo, so not really getting anything. Looks for the hook against the Genji here. Actually looks like it might be a kill. Anyways, a teleport for the save. Barely gets that shield off.
I thought he almost got stunned right before the Swift, and he could have been dead, but it was right after. So he does save at the moment, but he had to go Hearth back home, so that's costing a lot of rotational work for BlossoM. These kind of small things, it's all working for L5, of course, because they're putting out so much damage, making the enemy go Hearth back home. They can use that much more time to actually go exactly like this, go for the Sapper Camp before the next auto phase.
Yep. And just looking at these talents, the spider build is real for Nazeebo. Nothing really out of the ordinary for any of these players. He will get killed, specifically Nazeebo, as I say that though, by the dive from Dudu over the wall. And Genji is taken out, so it's a 1-for-1 here. Will they be able to get more? SDE is very low, but he's in very safe positioning. There's the kill onto Wiz again.
Phase shift for some extra shield onto his teammate, but that was a good sacrifice, Wiz. Well done.
Gondar is going to go down. Will he be able to get the kill afterwards? That's the question.
Nice spot, but Jungha was coming out from the side.
Well,
Will be another kill, though.
That's the kill there onto Leoric, not onto...
And maybe Mateo will get another kill. Seems like he did at the very end, catching with the strike.